Hello and welcome back here at Pilgrim's Well. We're so thankful that you join us again. Last time we asked the question, who do I marry? Today we promise to get into the practical things that we can see and that we can notice probably best before we get married.
Yeah.
Right? So what are some practical things to look for?
Yeah, I would like to list some other things, some practical things to look for. The first one that I want to highlight is how much does she or he is involved in the church. This is a very good thing to look for. If he or she attend the weekly services, even during the week, the Bible studies, the other things that the church offers during the week or even in the weekend, it's very good to see if this person is living the life of the church, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things in my pastoral counseling that I've come across is men and women that are completely disconnected from other Christians.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that I know, especially for women, it's hard for them to tell the challenges in their marriage if their husband doesn't have any Christian friends within the church, a real fellowship. But if that's there, if your spouse is actively involved in church and has a lot of close connections with brothers and sisters in the church, you know that there is a safety net, so to speak, that if there are difficulties in the marriage, you can go and openly share this together with them at the relationship of trust.
And sometimes it's good also to not assume things, because sometimes people are just busy during the 6 days, right? The fourth commandment talks about it. You should work in the 6 days.
Not 5, 6 days.
6 days. But sometimes we just assume that maybe he or she's going through a hard time in his work or trying to save money through other things. And it's a good thing also to not assume also, okay, I'm not seeing him or her during the Bible studies or other things in the church, so he's not fit for, but not necessarily, right? So that's the reason why we need to know exactly and know why and why not he's going or not.
Yeah, so should we see it kind of like a love for the church?
Oh,
if we can pick that up, that there's a love
it would be
for the church, not
nice
an obligation,
idea.
like I have to go here, but there's a
that's
sincere desire.
That's it, something that comes from heart, and because even those men or women that are just bound or trapped in their work during the week, they just want to be there, and they just would find sometimes in their schedule to sometimes go there, or so
I think that also is such a mark of a mature Christian.
Sure.
Right, when he or she loves to be with the people of God, whenever they can.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about, you have the circle of the church, right? The relationship with the church. If we draw it a little bit closer to the closer circle, how about siblings? You think that's important? How we relate with siblings?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we should look for and observe a lot. The relationship of this potential spouse to their siblings. My father always said to me that the way that I treat my sister, the way I treat my brother will be the same way that I will be treating my wife in the future. So I always thought like, no, that's not true, because my wife would be my wife. I would love her.
I would love her.
Yeah, it's totally different. I don't love my brother.
All over.
Yeah, I don't love my brother, my sister. He's just no. But the truth is that our brothers and sisters are our neighbors in the same way that our wives will be our neighbors, and they are in fact our neighbors. So we're not changed. So we'll be the same as you were with your brothers and sisters and with your wife. So this is a huge thing to look for. How does he or she relates to their siblings? This is a very important thing.
Yeah, I never thought about it, and I think we almost never talk about this at all. So I think it's very crucial, because I think this idea, the difference between dating and marriage is real, right? You don't walk the rest of your life just, whenever you see her, your cheeks start to blush and you just think, wow, every morning you wake up when you're married, she's so beautiful. I mean, there comes this this love that is deeper than just the outside shell, so to speak, right? There's this heart-to-heart connection, which is very similar to siblings.
Yeah.
Right? It's very true. I'm very thankful my wife has a very good relationship with her siblings, because I never thought about it. But nowadays I find myself asking, when young people come to me and they say, I'm interested in this person, how is their relationship with other people?
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think I've asked much, like, how's their relationship with their other siblings? I just usually ask about friends and probably about parents.
Yeah.
Do you think parents is an important?
Yeah, I think so. But before I get into that, I want to say something about siblings as well, that it's very important. When this potential spouse has a very young sibling, I think it's a very good sign of motherhood or fatherhood. And we have a girl in our church. I think she's 7 years old, something like this, and she have 2 young brothers. And the way that how she cares them, it's very beautiful. I can see her as a mother already with 7 years old. So when you have maybe some 18 years old guy with a little sister of 3 years old, and the way he cares about her and take care of her, it's a very sign of how of what kind of father he would look like. So this is very important. If he or she has a younger brother or a younger sister.
That's very insightful. And also with respect, I think, to older. Right? To older siblings, if the child is kind of a spoiled youngest child, stay off, stay away. But if the younger person respects the older brothers or sisters, that it's gonna,
Yeah, for sure. And that's the link for the parents as well. The relationship with the parents is very important, because usually we just we don't think about those things, right? To see how this person relates to his father or his mother. And usually, for example, for a man, if he does not respect or honor his father and mother, will he be a good leader of the house? I don't think so. I think we tend to be control or abusive sometimes, thinking that he is the head and you have to respect me some way like this. And because usually the person that don't care about authority, they just want authority. They just like rulers over the person that is beside their wings. So
makes not a good wife or a husband.
Oh yeah. So if we think about the wife, for example, if she does not respect their parents, their father, their mother, we should be a good wife, a submissive wife that would subject to her husband. I don't think so as well. So the way that they relate to their parents, I think it's very important also to observe and to see if they are respectful or not, and those kind of things is very important too.
Yeah, very good. I think the parents, my wife being from Korea, that's a lot more what family you come from. And I always thought, oh, come on, we're not living in the Middle Ages anymore. But it's not necessarily important if the parents are poor or rich or well known or unknown. But it's the core inside the family. How do people treat one another in that family?
Yeah.
That family culture is gonna flow into your marriage.
Yeah, it will shape.
There can be a turning and a changing, and hopefully there always is a growing in that.
Yeah.
But a lot of that is poured out into your marriage from day one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How about if we go a little bit outside? How about friends? Do you think friends are important?
Yeah, I think so, because all of us, in one time or another, or in our lives, we'll have unbeliever friends, friends that do not believe in the Lord, and there's not wrong with it in a certain point. But how do we relate to them? It's very, very important for you to observe how she or he relates to his unbeliever friends, and especially in comparison with the believer friends, because usually, not usually, but some people just like behave in some way with the unbeliever friends, and then the very opposite with their believer friends, just like trying to fit in both categories at the same time. And this probably will point to a fail of character, a failing of characters, someone who can be hypocrite. So this is a very huge thing to observe and to see how he or she relates to both this kind of friends. This is very, very important.
Yeah, and I think it's also very important to have friends to see if they, for example, with men, if he dominates all his friends and they all follow him, or if he's actually a friendly guy, right? You have people that are just dominators, and that's going to spill over into marriage. And if the husband turns to be an abusive husband, the wife has nobody to turn to, because all the guy friends don't dare to say. But if there's good, solid relationships, the woman can even use their friends as kind of a protection, and talk with them like, hey, can you talk with my husband, and can you guys sit down with us, right? If there's an open relationship,
this is
there's a give and take.
Yeah, it's a very good point to have friends to counsel one another in those times.
Brother, I want to dive into two, just specifically for husbands finding wives and wives finding husbands, right? Let's start with wives finding a husband, because this is, I think, a very important thing. How important do you think that is it for a wife to find a husband who is able to provide for the family?
Yeah, I think this is one of the most important things, because when we talk about we will talk about this later in the roles of each, and I'd like to compare the role of the husband with the role of Jesus Christ as our Redeemer, Prophet, Priest, and King. And as a king, he provides, he protects, and he rules over the family. So this is something that makes women to feel secure and safe, right? Yeah. So this is very important. And it is related also to work, because if he's not a provider, probably, not always, but probably he's a lazy guy who don't like to work, or who never stops in one single work. So this is very important for a woman to look for. Yeah.
Yeah, I think nowadays there's so many kids that are just playing video games all day long, and then they want to get married.
Yeah.
But you're not ready if you're playing with toys. Right? If you're living your life just, thumbling your fingers on some buttons, and there you're a great hero.
Yeah.
You're not ready to marry, all right?
Yeah.
I think that you need to have a stable, solid life so that you can provide and be a man.
Yeah.
Right? You need to have changed from a boy to a man. And there's boys that are 40 years old. Right? Yeah. You don't become a man when you're 18. You become a man when you leave the boyish things behind and turn to a man. I think the other thing that connected to that is a sense of responsibility.
Sure.
Right? Like the idea of governing, but not ruling in a sense that with an iron fist, but sacrificing yourself to make everyone safe and protected.
Yeah.
Right? That causes you to make decisions for others, but it's always in the good of those around. Yeah. That's why I think that family is so important. Yeah. How about wives? If for a husband to find a spouse, what do you think is, like, if your son is coming to you, he's saying, Dad, it'll just be a perfect scenario. Dad, I want to find my wife. Can you please give me some advice and help me? What do I need to be aware of?
Okay, sure. I think one of the most important things, besides to be a Christian woman, is just to be a wise woman, because a wise and teachable woman that will let the husband guide her, because she will be, as Genesis talks about Eve when God created man and women, talks about her to be as a suitable helper for him, fit for him. So to be a helper, to be an advisor, to be a counselor for a husband means to be a wise person, a balanced person who knows the word in some extent, to give good counsel and to give godly advices to his husband. So I think this should be one of the most important things.
Yeah, I think that's very good. I think one last thing I would add is a caring heart. Right nowadays, there's a movement of making women into men.
Oh yeah.
and losing that. What I think is really the most beautiful thing. You know, when I look at my wife, I don't think. I don't see the first. If you ask me, what do you think is the first part of beauty? It's not her appearance, which I think my wife is gorgeous, right? But it's not. That's the first thing that I find beautiful in my wife is her heart, caring, loving for her family, for people around her, for her friends. She always has a heart that longs to help and nurture people around her.
So the two last things that I want to add, first that we are talking about how to observe people and potential potential spouses, but one thing that we need to keep in mind is that we put the bar in a high level for others, but what about us, right? Oh, yeah. Am I a good candidate for marriage? Am I a good wife? Am I a good woman or a godly man that someone will look for me as someone to marry? So sometimes we look to the other and what the other have to be or to do, and we forget about us and forget to prepare ourselves to be good wives and husbands. So I think this is a good point. And the other one is that although you can marry a very godly woman or man, he or she will be still a sinner. So he will not be perfect. And that's we need to always keep in mind, because we picture marriage as a very romantic thing and would be perfect, but there are two sinners joining each other and marrying each other, and will be conflicts. There will be a lot of conflicts. So we want to avoid this to think that it's always perfect, because the only perfect one is Jesus Christ, our husband, and the perfect marriage will be in the new heavens and the new earth when we just...
that's beautiful. I think the closer we grow to Christ, a worldly marriage gets worse over time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you don't want to change. God is not changing your heart, so the differences just become more obvious. A Christian marriage becomes better over time because you're changing more like Christ, and you're learning to be patient and kind and caring. Yeah. So... thank you so much. Well, that was it.
Thank you.
For these 2 sessions, and we thank you so much. We pray that the Lord would help you. If you're looking for a spouse, that God would give you wisdom and insight. And we'll dive into family and marriage next time with Israel. Until then, we'll see you. Thank you.